I got my Thai visa. Woo! Thank you so much, everyone. I got so many prayers, Bible verses, encouragements, donations to make this happen. And I am so appreciative to all of you. I want to share more of my full story of what happened over this past month and what God did and taught me through this experience. He taught me many things, and there's definitely been one big key that held me all together. To start off the story, my parents were planning a trip to the US to celebrate my dad's 50th birthday, and they surprised me through working with my amazing church, Beaumont Community Church, and with friends and families to pay for me to fly to celebrate with them and pay for my return trip to Thailand, covering the cost of everything. And it was so amazing having that surprise. I had been missing them dearly after a year of being away from them. Right before leaving, I had small group at Canaan Ministries, the organization I've been volunteering with over the past year in Thailand. And during this small group, I heard God speak to me that I was supposed to work on growing my connection and relationship with Him. He showed me that I was supposed to do this specifically through spending more quiet time with Him and through fasting. So I decided that each week I would set apart a day to have a Sabbath-like day where I could just pray and focus on God. And the first day I decided to begin would be on November 17th while I was on vacation with my family. Seeing my family again was amazing. It made me realize how much I had missed them. It was an amazing gift. Then November 16th came, the day before I had my first planned time of rest and focusing on God. And my Thai pastor messaged me saying that our neighbor had just died in an accident. He's the father of 3 young girls, all under the age of 12. And I had just visited their home before leaving and said goodbye and I'll see you again soon. And it was just shocking to hear that he had died. And then my pastor also told me that 2 days prior, a young girl we had cared for with special needs, who's the same age as the girl whose father died, she too passed away from a blood infection. It was just so shocking to hear, but God had already known that I'd be needing a time of rest, and that next day I was able to pray and fast and already had a time just set apart to just focus on God. And He spoke to me and comforted my spirit, and I was just so thankful to have that time where I could just stop and be with God after hearing that news. My next day of rest was planned for the day after I would land in Thailand, November 22nd. On the 21st, I landed in Thailand and got stopped by immigration on the way to baggage claim. I was interrogated where they said I looked like a criminal who would try to smuggle things into the country or try to launder money or a bunch of different accusations. And whenever I went to show evidence of who I was or what I was doing or anything that would disprove any of the accusations, they quickly said, no, wouldn't look at it, and said, we don't want to see it. So it was very odd, and then they said that I would have to pay a bunch of random fees amounting to over $4,000 in charges, and it was a very odd situation. I had to get the Canadian embassy involved and say that I would use lawyers, and it was a very odd situation, but because of that, I knew that I just had to look towards God, and He would be my defender in that situation. So I focused on God and knew that He would provide for me and that opportunities could be found even through the chaos of the situation. And in the end, I got to tell some of the nicer security guards and others being deported about the love of Jesus and pray for them. I could show them the peace and calm God was giving me, knowing He was in control. Then I had 36 hours being held by the airport security, and I was able to have my Sabbath rest in security, praying and fasting, and God met me there in security and again provided me with peace and comfort. In the end, I came to Japan to sort out getting a new visa for Thailand while at the YWAM base here. The base here has helped and supported me right from the start, praying for me and constantly encouraging me, as well as providing me with delicious food. And my next 2 days of rest and fasting were planned for November 27th and December 7th. Each day right before came with a ridiculous flood of troubles. Visa requirements that I couldn't meet, more awful news from friends around the world, added financial problems, and when a solution was getting close, my hopes would be crushed for a specific issue, and then I'd have to rethink it. I had weird random things happen too, like just messages, insulting messages coming in right before, and a homeless dude tried peeing on me. I don't think he was trying to pee on me, but he started peeing right where my legs were. It was just a lot of weird. It was obvious that I was being attacked and that things were just trying to break my spirit. They all piled up to their peaks right before my days of rest, but before I could break, God gave me those days to rest and so faithfully comforted me and encouraged me and breathed life into my spirit so I could walk into each new week with hope and joy. I felt so much love from God during those hard times, during those different trials, and I could clearly hear His encouragement and was just physically and mentally brought to peace during those times. My next Sabbath day is tomorrow, and yesterday, after not hearing any news after applying for the visa a week ago and being told that I would receive an email or a call if they needed anything more, and I was just checking every day through my emails and messages and hadn't received anything yet. So I was looking for a way to contact the department and couldn't find anything, and went through my receipt and saw on my receipt that it said I was supposed to return 2 days prior to pick up my passport, and if you're late for the passport pickup, it will invalidate your visa application altogether. And I had no idea how I missed that detail after going through all the papers and applying and trying to be so careful. I felt so dumb for missing just that little thing there. I had already paid the application fee and had to book the flights too before applying for the visa, so it just felt like such a huge waste. And I went to pick up my passport today thinking I ruined the little hope I had for being approved, as I already couldn't get all the paperwork they had wanted for the visa in the first place. And I went into the building and started saying sorry right away for missing the pickup date for the passport. I didn't see the note, and the lady at the desk just right was like, "Oh, no problem." And she had my passport right beside her with papers, and she just quickly handed it to me and said that everything's good and the visa's already approved. And I must have made such a shocked face because she laughed at me. I was not expecting to be approved. I was going in there praying and trying to ready myself for being rejected. I was not at all ready for approval. So I was very, very happy and left and was just saying thank you, thank you, thank you to God. And it was so amazing how after all the many problems that God pulled through and blessed me so evidently in this. And now tomorrow is my time of Sabbath again, and I'll get to spend time with God celebrating. Before any of this had started, God highlighted to me the importance of building my relationship with Him through spending quiet time with Him and fasting. And this past month has easily been the most difficult I've experienced in many years, but thanks to God and spending time growing closer to Him and relying on Him through all the wild circumstances and the difficulties and trials and pains, instead of these situations leaving me broken and defeated, I got to be joyful and grow closer to my amazing God. And to Him goes all the glory for this. Again, thank you everyone so much for your vast amount of support and prayers and donations. You all so obviously moved mountains before my eyes through all your love and care for me. God has heard your prayers, and I'm so grateful to all of you. December 21st is when I'm set to fly out to Thailand again. Thank you, everyone. That is the end of my update.